Do I think that Gypsy Rose Blanchard should be able to be a parent to her daughter? This comment was coming up a lot in my series about narcissistic mothers and their daughters and the dynamic between the two. And in my personal opinion, I do not think that she is going to be a good mother. There was a video going around saying that Christy was doing a live in, and Christy was in the live saying that Gypsy knows what not to do. And while she may know what not to do, that does not mean that she's not going to do that. She has proven time after time after time that she continues to only think about how she is going to benefit regardless what the situation is. And I see her having a child as no different than her looking at that situation as how can she benefit from that. So already throughout her entire pregnancy, this child is not even seen as a child. It is seen as a tool. It is seen as a placeholder in order to get whatever it is that Gypsy wants. I do not think that this child is safe with Gypsy. I do not think that this child is safe within the entire Blanchard family, if I am being honest. The entire family has enabled Gypsy for many, many years, and they seem to really only care about how to profit off of Gypsy unaliving her own mother rather than doing what is morally and ethically correct for Gypsy and for this child. Just recently, Gypsy had a baby shower, and in that baby shower, there was a catering team. Lifetime was filming. All of these things were happening behind the scenes that we didn't get to see because I guess it's going to be on Lifetime, and Gypsy is supposedly not going to share her personal life on social media anymore. But all of these things that Gypsy is doing behind the scenes, using brands to receive free gifts, free food, free venues, using Lifetime to display her toxic life, those are all things that point to the fact that she is not emotionally matured and she does not care about the welfare of this child. This child is going to be born the daughter of a unaliver. Her fate has already been set. And if Gypsy cared at all about actually being a parent and what her daughter was going to endure because of her past, she would never have kids. If she truly cared about children in any way, she would never put a child through this type of trauma. So again, I do not think that this child is safe anywhere in the Blanchard home because they all seem to care about profit rather than what is morally and ethically correct for the well-being of the child. Gypsy's been out of prison for almost a year, and out of that year, she has wreaked havoc on social media, on the internet, on the broadcasting news stations. She has wreaked havoc all throughout the tabloids. This girl is so desperate to be famous and to be treated like a celebrity. She is unconcerned with how her behaviors now are going to eventually affect her daughter in the long term. She's only looking at the situation for what it is today, not for how her future child is going to view her behavior, her actions, and all of the things that Gypsy has done from December of last year until now. Looking at this from a child's perspective, Aurora, the baby, her mother, Gypsy, has done some questionable things throughout this entire year, Not to mention all of the things that have happened in Gypsy's past. If this was me and this was my mother and this was my mother's behavior, I would be completely embarrassed. I would want to remove myself from her behaviors. I would want to remove myself from anything that had anything to do with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And that is eventually what her daughter is going to do. Her daughter is not going to want to have anything to do with Gypsy because of all of everything that Gypsy is doing from 2015 until now. And this is not even including what is going to happen over the next 15 years that this child is going to be growing up as the primary breadwinner of the entire home, being forced to perform for the family to make money. As children, we have absolutely no control over what our parents do, how they behave, who they talk to, who they date, those sort of things. But when we become adults, we no longer have to put ourselves around our parents if we are uncomfortable with what they have done in the past and if their behavior has not changed from the past to the present. So like, if Gypsy does plan on changing her behavior somehow between now and then, okay, maybe this child does have a little bit of hope. A little bit of hope. But if Gypsy does not go into obscurity and stay away from the tabloids, social media, Lifetime TV, all of those things, this child has absolutely no hope of a positive upbringing. Do I think that she would be better off with Ken and Gypsy and Ken not be together? No, I don't. I don't think Ken is a good person either. Because who reaches out to a unaliver through mail in order to become friends with them? Like, that's fucking weird. I have never once in my life thought about, oh, let me write a murderer so that I can see how they're doing. No. Have I thought about writing a murderer to find out information? Yes, but that's different. So I personally think that the safest place for Aurora, Raina, Euchre is in an adoptive family where her name can be changed to something else that is not associated with Ken, Gypsy, or the Blanchard family in any way. I am sorry if this is coming across as blunt or if it's coming across as heartless or careless, but I am only thinking of the concern of the child. I am not thinking about Gypsy or Ken because they clearly have ulterior motives and they are not putting their child's best interests front and center. Gypsy and Ken are both questionable in their decision-making skills. They both seem to have narcissistic characteristic traits. Neither one of them seem to understand how to hold themselves accountable. Neither one of them seem emotionally mature or stable. Neither one of them seem financially mature or stable. And that spells for a recipe for disaster. This child has absolutely no hope growing up in the home with Gypsy or Ken. These are only my thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Do you think that I am wrong, that the child would be better off in a different family? Or do you think that there's hope for Ken to raise this baby without Gypsy? Or do you think that Gypsy is capable of being a good parent? Let me know in the comments, because I personally do not think that either one of them are ready to be parents or have the patience to be parents.